Good evening. We have all of your election coverage here tonight. Also for you tonight, we will have local stories, sports, and weather, all coming up here on 18 WJTS News. This is the WJTS News. Hi, I'm Charlotte Olson. Election night was one for the ages. Well, it was an election night that was probably never experienced before here in the history of Du Bois County politics. After more than an hour and a half of voting tallying, the race for the office of mayor for the city of Jasper ended last night in a tie. After all precincts in the Jasper were counted, incumbent Republican Mayor Terry Seitz and Democratic challenger Wayne Sheeter finished in a deadlock with an official 1,856 votes apiece, a percentage of 47.57% of the vote for both. Independent candidate Joshua Budd finished this year's election with a total of 190 tallies. Now, with this comes a number of decisions and procedures to be made over possibly the next 2 months to determine who will take over as Jasper's leader come January 1st, 2016. In a race such as this, the next step by Indiana law will be for Du Bois County Clerk Bridget Jarboe to send the final election results to the Indiana State Election Board to clarify those results. At this point, both Seitz and Sheeter will have the option to pursue a petition process calling for a recount. If either would decide to go that route, they would be required to go through a court process asking for recount, paying any fees out of their own pocket. If they choose not to, and the election is indeed certified by the state, the task of naming the official winner will be in the hands of the current Jasper City Council, not in the hands of the governing city body that will then take over after the first of the year. Now, despite the unprecedented turn of events and flurry of activity Tuesday night, both candidates were thrilled to have experienced what turned out to be a night that has never been witnessed before and will surely never be forgotten. Seitz says he's proud of how his campaign for re-election went along, and he says he hopes to continue his vision.
We made a great positive run, and there's nothing that I could have done differently, not just in the campaign, but in the last 4 years. I love where this city is at, and I believe the light will shine and continue to do so, and I want to be a part of that.
Meanwhile, like many, Sheeter says he expected a close race, but not this close. He says Tuesday night's turn of events proves that every vote counts.
Kind of surprising. I mean, historically speaking, we knew it was going to be close. We knew a good number of people came out today. You know, everybody says, well, you should always make sure you get out and vote. Again, this proves that you should.
Now, if the election would come down to the council, and if looking at a vote of perhaps down party lines, the Jasper 7-member council currently consists of 4 Democrats and 3 Republicans. By Indiana State Code, either way, a decision must be made by December 31st. Here's Bill Potter with a reaction from County Clerk Bridget Jarboe.
In Jasper, Indiana, a somewhat historic event has occurred in that there's an exact tie in the race for the mayor's office here in Jasper, with 1,856 votes cast for both Terry Seitz and Wayne Sheeter. And we're talking now with the clerk for Du Bois County, who takes care of the elections in Du Bois County, and that's Bridget Jarboe. Bridget, I guess, what's the next step? What happens now?
The election board, Roger Messmer and Mike Fritsch and myself, we will finish up our paperwork that we do after every election. We will certify the election and turn our results in with the state.
Okay, and then at that point, if what happens then at that point?
At that point, it's state statute, and it is up to the candidates or the party to follow that state statute how they would like to proceed with the tie.
And I guess this has never happened. This is somewhat of a historic event, and people have asked me, how can you have a tie?
I've not been involved with one before. I've not even been involved with a recount. So the exact number of people voted for each person. Yeah,
that's what's really weird. I know in past we've had some races that have been contested for whatever reason or another, and in a way this is not a contested race. This is a tie, which is historic.
Yes, it is.
All right, thank you very much. We've been talking with Bridget Jarboe, the clerk for Du Bois County.
Now, in other election results from last night, more history was made. Come January 1st, the Jasper City Council, for what is believed to be the first time ever, will be Republican-controlled. In contested council races, Republican challengers Nancy Eckerly and Dean Vonderheide will take over the council's 2 at-large seats. Eckerly was the top vote getter among the 4 contenders with 32.8% of the vote. Vonderheide finished second with 25.5%. The lone at-large incumbent, Democrat Randy Bukta, was third at 23%. Fellow Democrat Alex Emmons had 18%, and a second at-large member, Ray Howard, did not run. In the council district, 3-race Republican John Bell defeated Democrat Adam Offert by a margin of 63 to 37%. That seat will be vacated by Dave Prechtel. Bell says he's not only is he happy with the day's results, but also happy for those who supported him throughout his campaign.
You work hard for yourself, but you also work hard for all the supporters that help you. You feel obligated, and I'm just very appreciative of my wife that starts off with doing everything behind the scenes, and then I'd hate to start naming names because there's just a bunch of people and I'd be afraid to miss somebody. But so I feel grateful for everybody involved, and it's a good feeling at this point, and I'm looking forward to working with all the other city council members. We have a lot going on in the city of Jasper, and I'm very happy to be a part of it.
Meanwhile, the District 4 seat currently held by 40-year-old member Tom Schmidt goes to Dave Hurst, who defeated Republican Brittany Brockman 62 to 38%. Republican Kevin Manley and Democrats Greg Schneier and Earl Schmidt were unopposed, as was current clerk-treasurer Juanita Boehm. The Jasper Council will now consist of 4 Republicans and 3 Democrats. Election action may not have been as crazy in other parts of the county as it was in Jasper last night. The city of Huntingburg Republican incumbent Mayor Denny Spinner punched his ticket to another 4 years at the City Hall. Spinner defeated Democrat challenger and former police chief Ron Drew by a final vote of 793 to 447 for a difference of 64 to 36%. Spinner says he's ready for what's in store for the city for the next 4 years.
4 years ago, I really didn't know what to expect coming in as a mayor. And now that we've had a little experience under our belt, we've been able to set a course that we believe in. We've been able to get major projects done, and we've been able to do it in a very fiscal responsible way. So that will continue, and we look forward to great things in Huntingburg in the next 4 years with the great support of our community and all those people who believe in us.
In other contested races in Huntingburg last night, Independent Tim Ware defeated Republican Vicki Lewis in a close contest 52 to 48% for the lone at-large seat. The only other contested council seat was for District 3 as Republican incumbent Steve McFerrin defeated Democrat challenger Tina Deering by a difference of 60 to 40% of the vote. Republican Glenn Kissling, Jeffrey Bounds, and Independent Carrie Blessinger, as well as incumbent clerk-treasurer Tom Dipple, all were unopposed. The Huntingburg City Council will consist of 3 Republicans and 2 independent members. And then finally, in the town of Ferdinand's current town council president, Ken Seacard, was elected to yet another term. The Democrat defeated independent challenger Don Farina by a decisive 75 to 25% of the vote. Seacard was appreciative of the support he received throughout his campaign. He says there is plenty for the Ferdinand community to look forward to.
The way the people of Ferdinand came through and put their support behind me, that just makes me more committed to getting out over the next 4 years to doing even more to make Ferdinand, progressive and moving forward. I am thrilled to death right now.
The battle between Seacard and Farina was the first contested race for a Ferdinand council seat in the last 16 years. The 2 other incumbent council members, Debbie Johnson and Ron Wire, as well as clerk-treasurer Bev Schulteis, all ran unopposed. The Huntingburg Police Department wants to alert the public about another potential scam that seems to be making the rounds. Huntingburg Police Department says they have received several calls from community residents in regards to a company calling themselves Microsoft. Police say the callers are trying to coax their potential victims to go to their computers, give them access, which police say could compromise an individual person's information. Police say the scammer will then try to lock up your computer as a security program runs out before trying to sell the possible victim a new security program. This will then provide them information about your bank account and other things located on your computer. Of course, police say if you should receive any calls from a company identifying themselves as Microsoft or receive any other calls that may sound like a possible scam operation, do not provide any personal information and simply hang up and contact your local law enforcement agency. And we'll be back with weather right after this.